Lunchbox's review of Wandavision episode 7. It's called Breaking the Fourth Wall. Before we start, I just want to remind everybody that we do still have the contest going on, the giveaway. So we're giving away 2 Funko Pops. Just like, subscribe, and the more comments you do, the more chances you have in winning. And we just want to thank everybody that commented, because it seems like every video we're getting more and more views. Seems like you guys are interested. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And I'm joined by Michelle and Alex. So
hello.
We should start with our general thoughts on the episode. Who wants to start?
Might as well. I really liked this episode. I felt like it answered more questions than it left us with, which, getting this close to the end of the season, I feel like it's the time to kind of feel that way for each episode. So I was happy with that. Without getting too far ahead of ourselves, it confirmed a lot of things that we were thinking. So, like, pat on the back, some good validation for all of us there, because there were a couple notable things, a couple smaller things that were definitely confirmed that were correct, and still some things left in the air, like Mephisto. But it was a good episode. It was entertaining. I loved the style of it. Kind of that Modern Family, like The Office situation. I don't love The Office, but I love Modern Family, so that felt fun for me and really interesting to see like these characters in this setting. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun and also really dark at the same time. So I loved it. It was good.
Right. So I found it really interesting that this episode was the kind of like the reality era of television, where everything seemed like a documentary style, like The Office and Modern Family and so forth. And the fact that it's a reality and it kind of exposes the reality, like we got a lot of the big questions answered. And the whole question of like the center of reality, Nexus, which we'll be talking about, I'm sure. It's a great episode, like a real linchpin episode, because this is the one that's like one of the anchor ones that everyone's going to remember fondly. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, actually, you guys basically described it for me. The only difference with what I'm going to say is that Michelle preferred the Modern Family to The Office, and I prefer The Office over Modern Family.
Same. I just throw that out there.
I had The Office like ruined for me. All of my friends in university loved it, and when the stupid parkour episode came out, like, people would be just so chaotic that it just like made me hate The Office. Like, it just really scarred me.
Everybody just went parkour and then just
parkour. They're jumping off a wall, like they're sticking their foot out. Like, I'm like, that's not. Please, just, you're so much. Stop. So that's it.
You know what? We're gonna go straight to probably the biggest reveal of the episode. We're sort of kind of want to go back and forth, and it was the reveal that we sort of knew all along, in that Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness Zewich. Who wants to chime in on what their thoughts on Agatha?
I'll start, just because I remember that, Lou, you said it like in the first episode. I forgot what you said exactly, but like you questioned like, is that Agatha? And I suppose like her name Agnes does harken, no pun intended with the Harkness, harken back to like the name Agatha. So like that's in the back of your head. That's one of the teases. And this entire show has been full of teases. A lot of like the Mephisto stuff, like the devil. And again, a lot of nightmare stuff, which it still could be, because a lot of people are living in this nightmare world. But I do believe that this Agatha reveal is the response. This was what I was looking for. That like, who's the person that's throwing the wrench constantly into Wanda's mechanism? Because I do think Wanda is the reason why, and like this all started, but it shouldn't have gone as awry as it did if it wasn't for Agatha. Also, I love the Monsters theme song for Agatha. That was fantastic. It was great. Yeah, I just enjoyed that.
If actually there's a little, I don't know if most people know, but the voice for the lady part where it goes, it's Agatha all along, that was Catherine Hahn.
Great.
She was actually singing that.
Fun.
Great. Of course.
And justice for Sparky.
Revenge of the Fallen. I mean, we've talked about this being a possibility since episode 1.
Mhm.
So the thing that I really liked, with obviously being correct overall, was like each piece that we were correct about. So each moment that I think back to, of like, oh, we were kind of a little suspicious of this or a little suspicious of that those were all validated. The ones that really stood out to me were obviously the demon hand on
Oh yeah.
like she was pushing him in the door. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
so it's not crazy that we saw something that kind of was leading us to this conclusion. And then especially for last week's episode, when I in particular was talking about how sus I was of the way Agnes was talking to Vision. I was like, why is she able to move? Why is she able to talk? And they really addressed that and just showed her like fixing her makeup in the mirror. I was like, I knew something was I knew it. I knew something was weird there. So it felt really good that we were correct. I'm still super like I'm like so team Mephisto now. It's ridiculous. I'm like, I apologize. I didn't even think
It's hard
I would
to ignore,
be.
right? Especially with this
There's
episode.
There's so much in this episode, even with it being Agatha all along. There still feels like there's more than that. Like we're on episode 7 and there was the Agatha reveal, and I feel like there's still space for something more. And then particularly in the basement, there were a lot of like really demonic looking things that really don't fit with Agatha and like what she's up to. Like that like book, the Necronomicon looking book, and there was like those goat devil horns in the background. I was like, Mephisto confirmed still in my mind. And yeah, I don't know. I love that we know that it's Agatha, that like that's without a doubt what it is. But correct me if I'm wrong from like the comic book reader sense, but Agatha has sometimes been an ally to Wanda. Is that not true?
She's actually
Yeah.
more of an ally than a villain. I would say 90-10. Right, Alex?
Yeah. So
Yeah. I love like to the point where I can't recall Agatha ever being a rival to Wanda, although Agatha's story in continuity came to an end when Wanda killed Agatha in like the 2000s.
Yeah, so that leads me to believe, like, is Agatha, or is she being controlled? Like, is there another hand kind of moving these pieces? Because the reveal of her killing Sparky, even though I had like an inkling that was the case, I was like, that's like straight up evil. That's so bad. And I don't know, I like think she's so, as Germ would say, full of whimsy, that I'm like, man, I don't want her to be that evil. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, because Michelle, you brought up her basement, and her basement, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, like his house, the creepy things behind the glass cabinets, a big book that nobody can touch, all these strange, supernatural items that makes me think like, well, how did you get these things? Why do you have them? Is this like, did you bring these in from another reality, or did somebody like what is the story with this basement, and where are Wanda's kids?
Yeah,
exactly, right. Also, I'm not gonna say I'm 100% sure, but this has to be like the Darkhold.
I was thinking that too. Yes.
Either it or some version of it. We know the Darkhold appeared in Runaways and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
But also, somebody pointed out
it looked different though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige doesn't consider those part of the MCU anyway. But there was also, somebody tweeted out, there was a scene in Doctor Strange where they had all these books, and then it was actually hexagonal shape, and right in the middle was actually a missing book. I'm gonna add that later on when I do the editing, but there was a missing book, so maybe that was it.
Okay.
I think, as like Michelle was saying, as far as we know, Agnes has always been kind of on Wanda's side, but this reveal is almost like maybe she had to deal with a devil or the devil. She was burned at the stake, maybe to save to save her soul. Somebody, we're not, who knows, maybe it starts with the letter M, but so she's working for a more insidious being than her, trying to maybe pay her penance to, I don't release her soul or whatever. But that was really interesting, and it basically adds more question, even though every demonic symbolism was in that basement. You can see the ram, and then there was
Yep.
like sculptures of the devil, and yeah. Anybody want to
Yeah.
add to that? Or
It was evil. There's one thing in like the scene, the precursor scene to the basement, where Wanda is watching the TV and she like sees, like she kind of becomes suspect of what's going on. There's the fly on the wall, and I just wanted to kind of draw everyone's attention to that because I thought that was a really interesting thing for her to notice, to be like, oh, there's a fly on that wall. Now I wonder where my kids are. And I thought that was really interesting for them to do the literal fly on the wall. So I'm just pointing that out, that there is a fly on the wall.
Also really funny
Flies
because
exist.
it reminded me of a scene in man, what's that Anthony Hopkins, Jodie, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
There was a scene where Jodie Foster sees like a similar, I think it was a cicada actually, but similarly, and then she goes to the basement after that, right?
Oh.
Yeah. That's I didn't make that connection, but that's actually that's a good call out for sure.
And
but that dude, that murder was all about bugs, and it was a whole thing.
So going out of the basement for a bit, we're gonna probably go back and forth to that, was Vision and Darcy. We find out that Darcy has been transformed into I think it was a escape artist.
Yeah.
And then Vision did his get you out of the hex kind of mind thing. They start to Vision starts to ask questions and Darcy answers them as best she can. What do you guys think of the whole interaction with Darcy and Vision?
I'll just say, like, for me, it kind of like grinded the episode to a halt because it wasn't progressing. There was nothing. I mean, it was done on purpose.
I agree.
Yeah, it like obviously it was done on purpose, but it was kind of in a way where like, all right, you're doing that to a dude that can fly and pass through things. You know, like he could easily carry Darcy and fly her to wherever. Like it wasn't. He eventually realized by the end of it that, you know, what am I doing with this? And so took off the microphone and decided to fly. But I don't know. I felt like kind of like a weak way to just write Vision out of the story. It was important that he was explained the reality of his situation. But like the rest of it, like kind of like a road trippy thing was, it wasn't, you know, to my liking.
I agree with that in terms of like if the pacing of the episode, that whole segment felt really weird. I understand the necessity for it because I think it was really important to establish what Vision knows, and like his memories are not right. He does not remember a lot of really important things, and I thought that was really interesting that they established that. So it's kind of really like him being told that he was part of Jarvis and like his whole origin story is really interesting to me, that he doesn't remember literally any of that. Because for some reason, I thought he would at least remember his creation. I don't know why, but I thought that would be like the one piece of memory that he was holding on to, because those parts of him are still there. Like Jarvis is still in him technically, because Jarvis wasn't the stone. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was just really, really interesting that he's just like straight up blank slate, and what he knows is what Wanda put in there at this point. So it's a little bit more alarming than I think I originally thought it would be.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both of you too. I thought it was just sort of like a filler thing, but it needed to be done just to fill Vision in with what he was missing. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they were going to Vision and Wanda's house, and they kept stopping, and it was Vision that mentioned that it seemed like Wanda was trying to prevent him from going home, which takes us to Wanda's state of mind. Mm-hmm. And it is slowly House of Emming. I mean, that's the only thing I'm gonna add to that, like her control over powers, is you see the furniture starting to go back, regress to like the decades. She just kind of just like get get the kids out of here. I just need time for myself and to like maybe kind of focus, but it wasn't working. What
Mhm.
do you guys think of Wanda's decaying state of mind?
Going back to the Yo Magic commercial, I think at this point, like whoever is siphoning her magic is like making her creation of reality more challenging. So that's why she's not able to maintain whatever decade she's trying to stay in. And that's why she has like honestly no idea what she's doing. Because I think if she was in her fully like functional state, she wouldn't have let the kids go, even if she trusted Agnes. Like she's been holding them pretty tight this whole time. So I think there was some like weakening of her magic in order to kind of make her want to have this time for herself. So then it would open up the opportunity for the taking of the children. That's kind of what I think is going on. The thing that really got me was when she was talking to the camera and she had that like almost like 30 seconds straight of her going, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Because that's the phrase when it's not going well. It's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. It's like, that I picture the little dog in the fire when the dog's just like, I'm fine, and like the cafe's on fire, whatever that little meme is.
Yeah.
That's what I picture for that. Like everything's not okay. And she's like, no, I'm fine. So
Which actually,
alarming.
in a way, it sort of mirrors the very first episode of the dude's wife just going, stop it, stop it, stop it.
Oh,
It
that's
kind
right.
of reminds me of that scene there.
Yeah, good call.
Totally. To me, it was in the last episode, Wanda expanded her magic and like to just a level that it's never hit. Like she expanded the boundaries of Westview. She reinforced the entryways where like nobody could really get in unless you have the superpowers, right? And yeah, and like the cracks are starting to show. Like Wanda's powers are waning now, and it's kind of tied to her emotions as well. She just can't handle it. I don't know if it's another being siphoning her powers. I don't know if it's Agatha.
That's what I was thinking, actually. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Michelle mentioned that like someone. I mean, it could be, but I don't know. I don't know what the reason for Agatha is right now. Yeah.
Before we move too far away from Vision, I just want to point out that we were correct about something else because I don't know if we'll get to it otherwise. The whole cataract thing. Hayward wants to make Vision a weapon. Like we pats on the back, we nailed it. We called that. So I just thought that was worth mentioning. That was another thing we totally hit. So good for us.
Thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to say that Hayward is set to launch an attack on Westview. But here's the thing: if Monica's rover couldn't penetrate that, I don't think any sort of military force can do it. So that's why I'm thinking that I think it's the next episode, whatever Hayward was working on, like his version of Vision, I think that's what he's going to send into Westview to wreck everything. And this, it's got me a little away from the Sentinel deal because they showed the email on Agent Wu's phone. Mm-hmm. It looked like Vision. It was like a blueprint of a Vision. So I'm thinking it would be, or it's going to be a humanoid. Maybe this is a version of Wonder Man we're going to see because his powers are also energy based, kind of like the same way Monica got through the barrier. Yeah. And Wonder Man classically has been linked to Scarlet Witch, romantically, and Vision maybe physiologically. I forgot the whole tie with Vision, but I'm thinking it's going to be like a humanoid android just sent in, really powerful, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That actually makes a lot of sense because during one of the behind the scenes featurettes for WandaVision, it was the producer was talking about the show, and behind her Guess whose picture was behind her? A picture of Wonder Man.
Amazing.
So that, oh my god, that totally makes
There you
sense.
go.
Yeah.
Wonder Man. Wonder
And
Man.
speaking of not Wonder Man, but Monica's rover, we finally get to meet the engineer, or did we? As as Monica and Darcy head towards the outskirts to get her over, we meet the sort of kind of ragtag group of sword agents, but we did not see the engineer. So my thinking was, because again, shit just kind of ruins it for us, the internet. There was an interview with the actress, and she did say that the reveal, she can't wait to see our expressions when the engineer is actually revealed. That was just a group of soldiers. By the way, I think because of their loyalty to Monica and her mom, I think those were Skrulls. So what did you guys think of
Hey.
what, it makes
What?
sense, right? They were
Oh
loyal
my God.
to Captain Marvel, so
Oh.
and
Yeah, they did
her
say
mom.
that.
So there could be Skrulls, and she's been friends with
Whoa.
Skrulls. So what do you guys think about that whole incident?
Okay, I'll start. I honestly thought that it was a misdirect, and I forgot the agent's name, but the person who delivered the rover, I thought that was the astrophysicist that Monica was talking about all along. I thought like that was kind of like, oh, this isn't this isn't like the big deal we thought it was gonna be. It's not Blue Marvel, it's not Reed Richards, not Sue Storm. It's just this janky rover that didn't do anything, that just flipped up on its roof, and it was useless. So that's where I stand on that. I do think it was a misdirect. I think it was like nobody, and our twists, or like the remaining twists, are still coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was confused as heck, honestly, because like I don't know the comics, obviously, to the degree that you guys do. And I was watching with my friend, and like this lady rolls up with the rover, and I'm like, okay, who's that? Like, who's that supposed to be? And we're both just like, I don't know that person's name. This means nothing. So we're pausing the episode. We're like Googling her last name. We're like, who's this? And literally, it's nobody from the Marvel universe. Like, this name doesn't exist. So I was like, oh, okay. Like,
Right? Yeah.
It felt a little cheap to me. I was a little bit disappointed. I was like,
Yeah,
you've been
absolutely.
building
Me
it
too.
up to this
Yeah.
situation. I'm like, am I supposed to be excited for the human, the shitty rover, as Alex said? Like, I don't. That scene just didn't work. I was just like, this is dumb. I gotta say, like, the thing that happens because the rover fails and Monica like bullies her way into the hex, that was so awesome. I really like. I loved her kind of working her way through the hex. That was like really reminiscent of like sci-fi movies for me, where you're seeing like the different like embodiments, you know what I mean? Yeah, and having like the voiceovers from Captain Marvel, and like that like tugged at my heartstrings again. I was like, this is good. I just loved, I thought that scene was just stunning and so well done. But everything leading up to it was poo-poo. So
Yeah. I was so, when I saw that it was the Jimmy and Monica driving, I was just super excited, and I was just like, okay, here we go. It's just a shitty rover. Who are these people? Like, but then again, after that came probably one of my favorite scenes of the entire episode, is like Michelle was talking about. It's Monica finally becoming Photon, or Spectre, we don't know, but based on her mom being called Photon, I'm gonna guess she's gonna go with that name. She goes in all the which also reminds me, by the way, of the way Carol Danvers finally, when she got her full powers, is she had like flashbacks of her as a kid growing up, like falling down. So it was really, really cool. And I love that scene, and we got a bunch of super powered beings now in there.
Yeah. It's cool to see her powers manifest. Like she was able to see the electrical whatever you call it, just the energy in the power lines, and even the stars were shining a little brighter than they were. Her eyes were different. It was really cool. And like she stood up to Wanda. Thankfully, someone finally did besides Vision. That was really cool to see.
And to confirm that she has like powers is she did the very famous superhero landing when
Gotta do
it. Very nice.
Wanda picked her up, put her down. She landed, eyes were glowing, ready to like scrap with Wanda, and I thought that was a really, really cool scene.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
No. What I'm gonna say is really stupid. So finish what you're saying.
And there was also during that scene, we also see the mailman who has to be something. I'm like, I don't know who he is, but he has to be something. And like a 1 second shot of Dottie, who is very suspicious. Yes. Just like,
yes,
like you're up to something, dude. She has to be also somebody, just because those were the two people that were shown during the scene. Everybody else stood and just nothing. Like they were like frozen.
The boxes said presto, and if you're from Toronto, that means one thing. If you're watching the show and don't care about Toronto, that means something totally different, something magic related. But yeah, it was curious to see the mailman randomly.
The dumb thing I want to say is just like the inclusion of the yelling at the cat meme, because that's exactly what it looked like. Like that when Agnes is like leading one away and she's pointing back, like, oh, that was so good. That was so good. I love the scene. I honestly really wanted to see Monica and Agnes come to blows. Like I really just want to see fighting. Like I want to see more superhero stuff. So it was a little bit of a tease, and I was like, oh man, like I want to see what would have happened. Like I don't think Monica would have been able to actually stand up to Wanda, but Wanda's also having power problems right now. So maybe it could have been more evenly matched if it were to throw down in that moment. So I don't know. I liked it though. It was cool. And like Monica looks great with the blue eyes. Like that looks so cool on her. I really liked it.
She had the like Alex was talking about it earlier. It reminds me of kind of Neo, when Neo was finally seeing the Matrix.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Like, that's what I thought when I saw that scene. And one of the most telling things in this episode was actually the commercial. It was the Nexus commercial. To me, for people that know, the Nexus in the Marvel universe is just kind of this hub where all kind of multi-dimensional travel happens. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Wanda, like Franklin Richards, Kang, and Jean Grey are Nexus beings, right?
Right. Yes.
So, multiverse. What do you guys think of the Nexus commercials? I think it kills the Infinity Stones theory that I had. Maybe not. I don't know, but
I honestly had that reaction initially, and I was watching with my friend. I was like, "Oh, my theory, like poop," and she's like, "You're wrong. Like, are you dumb?" She's like, so she didn't actually say that. She's a lot nicer than that, Jess. I'm sorry. Like, that's not actually how you talk. But she corrected me kindly that, okay, so this is a commercial for a antidepressant, right?
Yeah.
Antidepressants are for depression, which is a mental illness, which is an illness of the mind.
Uh-oh.
So when she said that to me, I was like, oh, no, it actually, like, that fits quite well. Obviously, I feel like there was a little bit of a misdirect with that one because they use the word reality so many times in that commercial that you're like, oh, it's the reality stone, but we've already been there. So Mind Stone, and it still works. It still works. So I'm hanging on by a thread, but I think that one's actually not like the most ridiculous of the Infinity Stone commercial theory. So Mind Stone.
You know why I kind of stop with the Infinity Stones theory, because my mind just all went to like multiverse and X-Men, and I'm like, Pietro could still be Peter. Agnes could have just gotten from the Fox universe, then possessed him with her power, and I'm like, okay, this could still be Peter. Please let it be Peter.
There's still a possibility. I mean, like, he wasn't really in this episode until like that post-credit scene, Snooper's gonna snoop, which wasn't the craziest thing for him to say or do. It didn't feel like, you know what I mean? Maybe Agnes was like, hey, can you just like protect my place from people we don't know or whatever, because he's not met Monica at this point. So he's just like, you're snooping, don't snoop, you snooper. So
yeah, there was another rumor that because like the bunny Senior Scratchy could be Nicholas Scratch, which is Agatha's
Harkness's daughter. No, son.
Yeah.
There we go.
You're right.
I got there.
Right. As for the Nexus whole center of reality thing, I think it's like a foreshadowing of what we're gonna see. Multiversal stuff, gonna lead into Multiverse of Madness and whatever else is to come in the Marvel Universe.
Loki has to tie into this too, right? Because he's with the
Oh right, yeah. Loki's show sort of.
He's doing stuff.
Yeah.
the time
Okay.
the TVA. He
Right.
imprisoned by the TVA, which is the
Okay.
time Byron something.
So
Okay.
Nexus. So I don't know of Nexus the way you guys do from the comics, but I was thinking about the previous time that we heard the word Nexus, and that was Age of Ultron. When Ultron killed Jarvis, Tony reassembled Jarvis and he was found in the Nexus.
Like that super server kind of thing.
Yeah,
You're right.
there was
Yeah,
the
I
word
completely
Nexus
forgot
thrown
about
in
that.
there. So I'm like wondering, because that would be so Nexus from this commercial mention, and then also Darcy and Vision having the conversation about Jarvis. I wonder if there's something happening there, some tie-in, where maybe we get to be like reintroduced to a version of Jarvis.
Or Ultron.
Yeah.
Though I'm gonna re-point out the fact that like we only saw Dottie like that one time, and we have not seen her since like forever. So what's she been up to? And also, where's Jimmy Woo's missing person? Like, are they dead?
Right.
Like, what happened? There's been no mention of this human, and I just think that's really interesting. So I just want to like bring that up and put that in everyone's minds for moving forward.
And more importantly, we're the twins.
That too. I don't really care though.
They're a fragment of somebody's soul, you know. I'm just saying, maybe those fragments are back.
The missing person could be one Franklin Richards, and he could be playing with the twins right now.
Oh yeah, that'd be kind of.
I'm just saying, his parents went missing.
So.
The kid went into, sent to New Jersey with a new family. He's a Nexus being.
Well, I didn't.
But that's really.
We did. Okay, here's the thing about the missing person thing. On one of the milk cartons, there was a missing child poster. So when Wanda was having her problems with the milks, one of them said a missing kid on it, like one of those. I didn't get to see it. Truthfully, I was lazy this time, and I only watched the episode twice. So I didn't go back and like really pick that apart. But like maybe it's a missing child.
Oh damn, we gotta zoom in.
Yeah, zoom in.
Internet sleuths, do your thing.
Yep. But see, this is the good kind of internet sleuthing. We're not
not ruining anyone's lives.
We're not ruining lives here. It's also interesting is that the again with the Mephisto thing is that remember when the scene where Agnes was like, "Can you check my mole?" And usually moles, as they say, is kind of the mark of a witch.
Oh, interesting.
So somebody put that mark on her is my deal.
Okay. See, my Mephisto links are like way weaker. So like the bug is Mephisto. Then also the basement. I'm sorry, like you're going down to hell. That's my brain. It's very simple. You went down hell. Like you're in hell now. And you're in the basement.
What did you guys think of when Monica opened the basement door and her eyes glowed purple? Do you think that maybe Agatha got a spell on her? Because we know that she did something to Wanda. Did that affect Monica as well? Do you think that was just her kind of powers kind of reacting to the lights that were going down there?
I think it's a sign that like she's not super adjusted to her powers, but like she's able to turn them off and turn them on. she opened the door to the basement. She saw something, but maybe wanted to use her vision, for lack of a better word, to see the energy flux down there. And then she was interrupted by Pietro, which is really cool. I don't know if like Pietro's going to cut the strings off of him and be a good guy, or if he's still going to be under the influence. It's all going to be neat to see. I'm hoping Pietro just like becomes a good guy, and Evan Peters stays within the Marvel universe because everyone loves to see him.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I'm willing to give Monica a pass because technically it is day one as a superpowered being. And by the way, yeah, like going off on a tangent again, is like Hayward is a dick. He hates the superpowered individuals. Like
he's gonna go after Monica now, for sure. And I think that's gonna be that's gonna play into it. Like he's gonna maybe witness her do something with powers and just like nope, I do not like you, unacceptable, and try to end her as well. Especially because she is like she very notably sided with Wanda against him, like to his face, like no, I want to help Wanda, so when he comes in to do whatever attack it is that he has planned against Wanda, like Monica is going down with that. Like she's gonna, which maybe like could get Wanda to trust Monica, knowing like that she's getting attacked as well, if that's how it plays out. So that could be really interesting to see. And I just want to say the thing that I really appreciate, and this is just like a comic book thing, but people who have powers, they always have like a very distinct color. And I really like that. I think it's really interesting, and we're going to be messing around with a lot of colors. And I find that fascinating. Just the color spectrum, because like, you know, if you do like color, so Agnes is purple, right? And Wanda's red, and Monica's blue, and red and blue equals purple. And I just think that's really interesting that those are the colors we're playing with right now. And then Vision's off being yellow somewhere, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah,
you know, it was
good catch.
And it was Agatha all along.
And seeing seeing all the strings she was pulling, it feels cool to kind of see it on the opposite end now, because we've been guessing about it, and now it's like, okay, she's doing some things.
We have like a villain to just kind of point at right now.
But I feel like it's too easy for them to explicitly show us everything she's done. Like I feel like it's too easy. I'm very suspect of it, because it's like spoon feeding us at this point. Like she, like literally, they're telling us it was her all along. This is what she did, and I killed Sparky. Like, do you know what I mean? And like that little wink, I'm like, did you do anything? I mean, like, I don't trust you winking at us.
Listen, Agatha, which master are you serving? Just tell me.
Exactly.
Alex won't like it, but just tell us. Just tell us who you're serving.
No. Just tell me it's a nightmare, so it won't be Mephisto.
Or it's just gonna be something we haven't even mentioned yet. It's like, oh, joke's on all of us. We're super not right.
And that is it for our recap of episode 7. We are the show that does the overthinking for you, so you can just listen to us babble. Thank you for humoring us. Again, just to remind you about the giveaway. Info's right here. Anything Lunchboxy, just check out our social medias below. Again, I'm joined by Michelle and Alex, and we will see you again next week. Peace.
Bye.